My Hero Academia's two home console game adaptations have been lackluster to say the least, and it would be fair to say that fans want more. An open-world action MMORPG with in-depth character creation and combat. This is the ultimate My Hero Academia game and the concept for today's video. So let's get started with discussing my ideas for the ultimate My Hero Academia video game. First off, let's talk about the character creation because the MHA fandom has a weird obsession with OCs. When you initially create your character, there will be a student at UA, but as you progress through the game, you can eventually level your way up through graduation and onto becoming a pro hero. Or you can decide to become a villain. We'll discuss the different character paths later in the video. The most important part of character creation will be your quirk. Now, in the anime, quirks are chosen entirely randomly, but I think that would be a pretty lame game feature. So you can choose to go random for a more authentic experience, or you can just choose your own quirk. There will be an extensive list of quirks to choose. There will be, of course, most of the quirks that you see in the show, minus some completely overpowered ones like One for All and All for One. There will be some game-exclusive ones that haven't shown up in the anime or manga, but are standard enough superpowers such as shadow manipulation. Now, unfortunately, you can't make your own quirks because that would be impossible to implement. Depending on the quirk you choose, it can affect your player's appearance. For the most part, you have complete control over your character's appearance, but if, for example, you chose Fat Gum's quirk, Fat Absorption, then your character will be fat most of the time, so your quirk's powers would have to be plausible for your character's body type and appearance. Finally, for character creation, we have stats. Just like the official stat books, be able to spend stat points to upgrade one of 4 categories: power, speed, technique, and wits. Power increases your attack strength and how much damage your basic attacks deal. Speed increases your movement and attack speed. Technique increases your quirk damage and output. And finally, wits increases the rate in which you level up. Speaking of attacks and quirks, let's move on to combat. Your quirk plays a large role in determining your available moves and playstyles. For starters, the X button is a basic attack that when pressed repeatedly in succession creates a basic combo. For this move, you're able to choose either a martial arts style or a weapon, and in some special cases, your quirk can unlock an entirely new fighting style. For example, if you have a fire quirk, then your basic combo would involve the use of fire. Moving on from basic attacks, you'll have 2 available quirk attacks at a time with the Y and B buttons. Each quirk will have a multitude of unlockable moves you can swap out in those 2 slots. You also have customization over how you evolve your quirk. Let's use lightning as an example this time. Lightning powers can work differently depending on the anime, like Killua, who uses his lightning more for movement, versus Kaminari, who uses the lightning for large AoE attacks. You'll have the choice to evolve your quirk's moveset to fit whatever type of fighting style you like best. For our last attack moves, each character will have some form of ranged attack. You aim by holding down LT and attack by holding down RT. These can also be customized and chosen from a large pool of abilities. Some are more obvious ranged attacks like shooting a fireball, whereas some quirks that wouldn't directly translate to a ranged attack will have something different, such as a dash attack with a super strength quirk. Finally, you have an ultimate attack which can be executed by holding down RB, then pressing B. Like all other quirk attacks, this one can also be customized and swapped out, and will have its own ultimate meter that needs to be charged up. Moving on from attacks, your quirk will also play a large part in the rest of your moves. You can press A to jump, and depending on your quirk, you might have an additional vertical movement ability, such as flight. The next movement ability is to dash with LB. Now the standard move for this is to simply hold it down while moving to dash, but if you have a quirk that allows it, you can equip a horizontal movement ability, such as a explosive propulsion. The final main control is holding down RB to block and parry. Like every other move, some quirks allow special guards, such as a force field. The menu buttons are for menus, it's same with the directional pad. Now that your character is created and we know the basic controls, let's jump into game modes. Now this game will have 2 main modes, single player and multiplayer, with single player functioning as an advanced tutorial of the game, whereas multiplayer is more so free play. In single player, your character goes through the events of the anime up until the war arc and features a fully explorable UA high, similar to Hogwarts Legacy. You can complete story missions, but also attend classes that teach you more combat abilities or help you evolve your quirk. Here you can also interact with characters from the anime. The free roaming of the story mode is limited to UA and its surrounding grounds, but will be very expansive and offer a lot to explore. On the flip side is multiplayer. You can either take your character from story mode or create a new one specifically meant for multiplayer. Like most MMOs, there will be different servers to play on, which will factor into gameplay. You can only have 1 character per server, which connects to the hero rankings. You see, the story mode covers your character's time as a student, whereas multiplayer mode is more about your character as a pro hero. By leveling up your characters, you can work your way up the hero rankings, starting your own agencies, and even joining others, like how a clan or guild functions in other games. And those with the highest levels on the server will be ranked as the top pro heroes. Now, how do you level up? By stopping crime or helping civilians. There will be very frequent villain encounters that will randomly appear on the map, and each one will offer a different challenge. Some are entirely combat focused, defeat the villain, whereas others will incorporate rescuing civilians, which can involve parkour, puzzles, or just aimlessly walking around and pressing a prompt to rescue each person. I know I did mention before about a villain route, but that will be multiplayer only. In the multiplayer mode, you can choose to create a hero or villain, and if you choose a villain, then you can go around fighting other heroes, either bots or actual players. But to stop unwarranted PvP, you can choose if you'd like to be able to be randomly attacked by other players or or not, and there'll be no penalty if you do so, unlike GTA. Speaking of PvP, like I said, you can send requests not just to the opposite faction but to allies as well, and these PvP matches can take place in a number of locations. The most prominent one will be the Sports Festival Arena. This will also feature a limited time event that happens every so often. It will play out just like the anime and feature multiple different qualifier rounds. This event will also be available in single player as part of the story, except of course it will be against bots. Those were just my quick thoughts on what I think would be the greatest My Hero Academia game. If you guys have any other ideas, then make sure to let me know in the comments section below. Later.